Okay, so the structure of the session today is a little bit different from the normal Wednesday structure. Um, so I'm going to read an article which will introduce the theme, and then we'll do a practice for which, if you're listening on the recording, you need an object, something small that you can hold, and something that brings some sense of comfort or joy, warmth. So you might want to pause the recording and get something if you're listening online. And the theme is childlike wonder. So linking into sort of beginner's mind. And I'm going to read an article from the Mindfulness Association, which is based in Scotland, and it's written by Jackie Seary. It's really available on their website. And she writes about the observations of her grandson. And just to introduce, the topic of childlike wonder, having the curiosity of a child. So as you listen, you might want to even use this as a mindfulness exercise, almost mindful listening. So feel free just to close your eyes. Maybe if you notice your attention wanders, you can bring it back to listening to the article. I have noticed that spending time with a 4-year-old teaches me to be mindful, present, and curious. My grandson makes me realize the preciousness and gift of the present moment. He has also taught me to be more curious. Each time I see him, he has changed and grown. He does things slightly differently and more adeptly. Therefore, every time he does something, it's a fresh and new moment. He finds joy in the simplest of things, things that we may find mundane. In our mindfulness training, we're invited to observe what's happening with curiosity, with the curiosity of a child, to forget what we know and explore how we feel as if for the very first time. On reflection, I recognize that among all the great mindfulness teachers I have had, my grandson is actually one of them, a mindfulness teacher in disguise. If we take time to notice, many people and situations can teach us mindfulness. Children are only ever in the moment. My grandson has an exuberance and inquisitiveness I've long forgotten. He's not making stories, worrying about the future, or trying to fix the past. There he is, in each moment, truly living his experience. If he experiences joy or pain, he expresses in the moment, then moves on to the next moment. He splashes in puddles, squealing with joy tirelessly. He gathers leaves and twigs with the genuine excitement of finding a prize for a valued collection. He doesn't care about the rain or the mud or the cold. It's just here, now, exciting and waiting to be experienced and explored. As I spend time with him, I notice how I feel with curiosity. To begin with, I'm aware of smiling at his joy. Then I'm often intrigued as to why he finds something so exciting, joyful, or funny. How he never gets bored doing the same thing over and over. And then I notice resistance. There is a resistance in me to letting go and having fun. It's like I've been programmed to be more serious. I find that I am judging, self-critical. It's a bit like there is an elastic band inside of me that will only stretch so far, pulling me back. I notice this and decide to respond differently, to let go, join in, and be for again. So we'll move more into the practice itself now. So to begin with, just inviting you to find a meditation posture that feels right for you. Just have the object that you've chosen nearby for now. I'm just gonna begin by spending a few moments bringing our attention to our breath, just noticing the rhythm of your breath just as it is. Just using each breath as a opportunity to come into the present. Perhaps setting an intention, if it feels right for you, to bring a sense of that childlike wonder to the rest of the exercise that we'll try today. Just staying with your breath for now, noticing when your attention wanders, maybe to what we're doing next, or some of the ideas from earlier in the day, in the past, bringing it back to your breath. And I'm going to invite you to explore the object that you've chosen for today. And I'm going to guide us through the different senses and seeing if you can bring childlike wonder, beginner's mind, but almost as if you've never seen this object before, never held it before, bringing as much curiosity as you can. I'm going to suggest that we begin with sight. So perhaps just gently opening your eyes and keeping your gaze focused on your object. Really studying it, paying attention to the colors, the shapes. Maybe noticing how the light interacts with it, if it's a reflective surface or if it's quite matte. And if it's an object you've seen many times before, maybe just noticing, is there anything new that you've never noticed? Using this sense of sight to anchor yourself in the present. So if your mind might wander elsewhere, just as we normally might, just noticing that and bringing it back to just taking in your object. If it's something you can turn or turn upside down, maybe paying attention to aspects of it you might not see quite as often. And then at a certain point, perhaps just starting to explore the sense of touch with your object. Might just be noticing the different textures, whether it's smooth or if there's some pattern or texture to the surfaces. Again, bringing that curiosity of a child as if you've never touched this object or you've never held it before. Really noticing what that feels like. You might notice its temperature. If you're holding it, you might notice the weight of the object in your hand. Just using this sense of touch or the weight of it just to bring yourself into the present. Staying with a curious mind. And then moving into a sense of smell. So depending on what your object is, it might feel a little strange or it might work. But just seeing if your object maybe has a scent. Seeing what it's like if you bring your attention to the sense of smell very specifically. If your object does have an edible characteristic to it, you can explore the sense of taste. And again, just imagining that you've never tasted it before, or if that doesn't apply to what you've chosen, just go back to one of the previous senses. And then lastly, just exploring the sense of sound. So it might be that just placing your object down on a surface has a certain sound. So those sounds can only happen in the present. So again, they're just anchors for us into this moment. Perhaps if you move the object in your hands, it has a very slight sound. Just exploring what's possible, being curious. Maybe even having a sense of playfulness that a child might. And then if it feels comfortable for you, just inviting you to come back to your meditation posture in a way where you can just hold your object, allowing your eyes to close if they have been open, and just sitting, feeling the weight once more of your object in your hand. Using this sense of the object to help you anchor into the present. Your mind wanders. And this object you chose because it had some qualities of joy or comfort or warmth. Perhaps just noticing if they're there for you just now without needing to force anything to happen at all. Just noticing what's there emotionally. what qualities you associate with this object that you've chosen, and just sitting with them. Perhaps paying particular attention to any senses of joy and comfort and warmth, noticing where in your body you might feel that. Noticing what happens if you pay attention to the parts of your body which correspond with this sense of comfort, joy, warmth. Does it change or stay the same? And then noticing if there's anything else present for you emotionally. It might not be joy and warmth and comfort that you're experiencing just now. It might be something else there, or even an absence of emotion. So just paying some attention to anything else that you notice. If you can allow both the pleasant and the unpleasant aspects of your experience to be there. And then at a certain point, just gently inviting you to come back to your breath, the place where we started the practice, just coming full circle and returning back to your breathing. Once more, using your breath to anchor your attention. Noticing the qualities of your breathing just now compared to the beginning of the practice, perhaps. Has it changed? Has it stayed the same? And you sit. I'm just going to read a poem which fitted the theme really nicely. So it's by Becky Hemsley. It's called Magic. You tell me that I'm childish, seeing magic in the world, that there's no room for enchantment on this scientific earth. You give me explanations and you hand me charts and graphs, but you say there can't be magic in the company of fact. But I'd argue that there's magic in a newborn baby's cry and in how that baby heard its mother's heartbeat from inside. I'll tell you that it's magic how a butterfly exists, that there's something most spellbinding about metamorphosis. There's magic in the differences between each flake of snow and in people finding footprints from 1 million years ago. I'll tell you that it's magic how the tides move with the moon and how the sun can split a raindrop into 7 different hues. It's magic how a spider weaves a complex, fragile web, and how all the words of years of songs are stored inside our heads. But you'll tell me that's not magic, for this all can be explained. Yet to me, there's magic dancing in the workings of our brains. See, the trouble is, our knowledge means we've little or to spare. But if we stop looking for magic, then we'll never see it there. And just maybe noticing any responses you might have to the poem. So without judgment, just noticing what emotions or thoughts might have um, appeared in response to it. And see if you just accept them. As we come slowly towards the end of the practice, perhaps just setting a intention or a brief reflection on how you might be able to bring a little more childlike wonder or awe into the rest of your day or the coming weeks. A sense of openness and curiosity to each moment. I'm gonna gently invite you to start bringing some movement into your body. Whatever feels right for you, it might be moving your feet or your hands, paying attention to how the movement feels in your body. And then in your own time, taking 3 very intentional deep breaths. And on your last out breath, gently opening your eyes. Thank you.